Today, I'm going to walk you through this entire system, which generates 6 to 30 times return on investment for agencies, coaches, and consultants. These are the exact metrics this system delivers. With $5,000 ad spend, you can expect to obtain 100 to 500 new leads through the Facebook ads. And then off the back of that, on the lower end, we convert at a 20% booking rate, which leads to 20 to 100 new meetings. And then with the standard 30% close rate, we are looking to obtain 6 to 30 new customers each month. So at a $5,000 customer LTV, the lifetime value, this would deliver between $30,000 to $150,000. Just from that $5,000 worth of ad spend, which is 6 to 30 times return on the investment. Now in today's video, I'm literally going to break down the 13 AI agents and AI workflows we build to actually deliver these results all on autopilot whilst requiring 0 of your time each week. This will not only deliver the ROI I mentioned, but it will save you and your team at least 3 whole days per week whilst maximizing the call attendance, customer onboarding, customer retention, feedback, and referrals. So you'll gain even more value out of the entire system than just the money it generates into your business. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Rahul and I run a 6-figure AI automation agency based here in London, where we specialize in building AI agents to help businesses convert more leads while saving money and countless hours of time. If you're a business owner looking to leverage these exact systems in your business to help you drive more sales while saving time and money, or perhaps you're an agency owner looking to white label and resell our systems for yourself, then head on over to the top link in the description below and book in a call with myself. Okay, so let's jump in so I can give you an overview of these systems. So we have 4 different segments here. We first have the new lead to meeting booking. So this is the process of taking a new lead and getting them booked in for a meeting. Then we have the meeting booking to meeting attendee, which is the process of actually making sure that the person who has booked their meeting actually attends it. And we also have a process here where we are actually qualifying the person prior to the meeting as well. So we make sure that they are actually qualified before they actually attend the meeting and spend time with the closer. And then we also have the new customer onboarding and support system as well, which basically streamlines the onboarding process and has a system where we can automate the customer support as well for them. And then we finally have the segment which is able to retain paying clients, make upsells, gain reviews, and also gain referrals from that process as well, and also obtain customer feedback. So we're basically automating the process of building a good relationship with the customer. So first of all, let's dive into the first segment here, which is the process of taking a new lead to actually book in their meeting. Now, if you're an agency, coach, or consultant, you're likely obtaining your leads via one of these different methods. So that could be number 1, you maybe have Facebook ads and Instagram ads, or maybe you have Google ads running. You might get a lot of leads come through your website, fill out your contact form. You might get inbound phone calls or SMS messages. You might be leveraging social media. That could be organically through your content. And then perhaps people will visit the form, which is linked in your bio, fill that out. Or you could be getting leads via inbound Instagram DMs or via inbound Facebook DMs, or perhaps people are messaging you via WhatsApp. So regardless of which way you're obtaining new leads, we have different systems in place to handle all of these. So let's first dive into the AI WhatsApp/SMS conversation and follow-up agent. So the way this works is we have an AI conversation system built within n8n. So what happens from here is as soon as that lead hits via the Facebook ads or via your contact form, this conversational AI will message them right away. It will send a message to them via WhatsApp, basically to introduce itself, and this will be completely personalized based on the information that we've gathered when the contact actually fills out the form. So if they're filling out a form from your landing page or from your website, or perhaps through Facebook ads, we are collecting some data regarding that lead, and we can use that to generate a personalized message which is actually tailored to the customer based on the information we've obtained, and it can help to build that initial conversation flow because it won't seem fully automated. So from there, if there's no response, we then pass over to our AI follow-up system, which takes the information gathered from the contact within the CRM. So the CRM we use here is High Level. So within High Level, we have a bunch of data about the specific contact. Now, using that data, we can then generate tailored follow-up messages. So that can also be off the back of any conversation history we've had with the lead prior to that as well. And then we basically send a tailored follow-up message to that lead to get them to engage with us. Now, this doesn't need to be just one follow-up message. This can be a sequence of 3 or 4 or 5 follow-up messages just to make sure we are staying on top of that lead as much as possible. I wouldn't really recommend one message. That's usually not enough. So usually I'd say 3 to 5 messages is pretty good to be able to stay on top of them. And again, those would all be tailored and they would all kind of be sent out sequentially. So you'd have one sent out one day, you'd wait a couple days for a response. If they respond, the AI conversation system will kick in. If they don't respond after a couple of days, we will then send another follow-up message and so on and so forth until we've sent all of the follow-up messages and we've got no response, in which case, it's safe to say that the lead isn't interested. And then obviously off the back of that, if they don't respond, you can actually add them to a newsletter system where you're still nurturing them over the long term as well. And that actually brings us on to our email nurture workflow. So what we have here is we have a short-term email sequence, which sends over the period of 10 days. If they don't book within the first 10 days, then they are added to the email newsletter. So what happens here is the first email is sent out. This aims to sort of build the overarching principle of what the business actually offers. So it will give them, information about what sort of course you're selling or what sort of products or service you have. And then we wait 2 days, we then send out another email, which then starts to build up a bit of urgency in terms of time and also limited spots. We then wait another 2 days, we send out a third email, which sort of does the same sort of stuff, but kind of, pushes the lead forward a bit more in terms of building more urgency. We then wait another 2 days, send out email 4, wait another 2 days, and then send out the final email of that sequence. So if they don't engage or don't book within that first kind of 10-day period, we will then pass them over to our long-term email newsletter, wait 3 days. Obviously, this can be changed, but we will wait 3 days, and then we will add them to our Beehive, which is where we have the long-term email newsletter. And this will be for people who have entered the funnel, but not booked in a call to move forward with things. So this then allows us to nurture them over the long term to ensure we're not just disregarding that lead too early. And then we have our outbound voice AI appointment setter. So the way this works is it's built within Retail AI, and it's a voice agent which will trigger an outbound call to the customer. What we do here is we double dial every single day for 5 days until they pick up. And then the agent will pre-qualify them over the phone, be able to answer their questions. If they've passed the pre-qualification phase, they will then be booked in via our AI booking agent, which is built within N8N. From here, they are booked directly into HighLevel, which is the CRM we use. And then we also log all of the data as well within HighLevel. So that will be the conversation history, whether the lead is qualified or not, whether they're interested, whether they booked, or whether they just answered the call and none of those kind of phases took place. And then we also update an Airtable dashboard. So we have an outbound voice agent dashboard, which we update with all of these metrics so the client can actually get a full overview of all of the metrics. And then next we have the inbound voice AI agent receptionist. So within the system, whenever an inbound call comes in, we then pass that over to our Retail AI voice agent, which is able to handle the conversation with the customer. The customer might have general FAQs they want answered, in which case the agent is able to help them there. Or they might have questions which are unable to be answered by the AI, in which case we transfer them over to a human who is able to handle that. Now, if the call takes place outside of business hours and there's no one available to transfer over to, we then have the agent actually take a note of what the customer wanted to speak about, and then it will send an email notification over to the relevant team, the relevant person, and then they can go ahead and actually follow up with them. And then if the lead is actually not interested or unqualified, we also mark that within the system. We can also pass over to our AI booking agent, again within N8N, which books directly into HighLevel, which is the CRM we use, and is able to make that booking for the customer as well, if the customer is interested in actually booking a meeting. And as part of this system, we also extract data directly from the CRM. So when we've had past conversations with that customer, we've obtained, conversation history, we've got their email, phone number, full name, we've got more information in terms of, maybe their interest level or maybe other questions about their business, what sort of company are they calling from, what's their website. We've got all that information within the CRM. So we then have an AI workflow within N8N, which is able to fetch that information, and then we pass that back over to the agent, which is able to leverage that within the conversation. So it comes across fully tailored and fully human. And then finally, after the call has taken place, we then have all of the data logged within HighLevel. So we are again storing that full conversation history, storing any collected variables. Maybe we collected their email over the phone. We need to store that within the system. Maybe we have their business name, website. That is all stored and logged within HighLevel. And then we also update the inbound voice agent dashboard. So this dashboard is separate to the outbound voice agent dashboard we set up. This is specifically for all of the inbound calls, and it allows us to mark all of the metrics again as well. So that would be the booking rate, the number of calls coming through, total minutes used, total number of calls that were booked, the total number of calls which were just answered, total number of calls where the lead was not interested, unqualified, transferred over to a person, etc., etc. So this entire segment of the system offers a lot of value for agencies, coaches, and consultants. It significantly increases the speed to lead, allowing you to actually contact that customer when they are at their hottest. And if you contact them within the first 5 minutes, you are 21 times more likely to actually convert them than if you contact them after the first 30 minutes. So it's really important to have an automated system in place to actually get them booked in, which is why this is probably arguably the most important segment of the system. And then next, we've got the meeting booking to meeting attendee, which is the process of actually maximizing the show up rates, but also pre-qualifying the leads prior to the call to ensure they actually meet the specific criteria. So we'll start off here with the booking confirmation workflow. So as soon as a booking is made, we then send an SMS or WhatsApp confirmation and also an email confirmation. It will have something like this. It'll be, hi, first name, your call has been booked and scheduled. Here are the details of your upcoming appointment. And then we have some information here about the actual meeting name. We have the date and time. We have the link as well. And then we also provide a bit more information here in terms of videos that we can help educate the people on to actually go and watch. These help to build more trust and rapport with the customer, especially if they maybe came through Facebook ads where they haven't seen a huge amount of the content. So this is useful to actually build that rapport with them and get them more engaged. And then we also have a link to a free school community. Again, this serves the same purpose. It's not hugely necessary, but it is worth having in there just to build that trust and authority with them as well. And then finally, we also give them the option to reschedule or cancel if we want them to be able to do that. And then next, we have a reminder, which is 24 hours before. So just the day before the appointment, we send out a message like this. Again, hey, first name, just wanted to remind you about the call at specified time tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Here's the link. Again, we provide them with the videos and a bit more information to build that trust and rapport. And we again have the reschedule and cancellation links. And then 6 hours before, we also send a quick confirmation and reminder. Again, follows the same sort of process, but we sort of just get rid of the actual videos and the information here. The reason we do that is it's just a quick reminder. Up until this point, they should have actually read through this and taken a look. And this basically just super quick reminder, just has the link, option to cancel or reschedule, and just tells them the call is in 6 hours. And then finally, just one final reminder 1 hour before, so we can push them through, just make sure they are actually going to attend. And maximize the sharp rates for it as well. And again, same sort of structure as the 6 hour one, but just 1 hour before. So this workflow here is obviously very simple to set up, but it is very valuable to have. And it's really, really important that you're sending several messages and confirmations, and also not just via email, because some people might not actually see their emails. It's very important to also hit them via SMS or WhatsApp, because that's where they are going to actually see the message and are more likely to engage. Now, most people will only just send out a confirmation and maybe one reminder 24 hours before, but it is really important to have these ones because people get busy, they forget. So it's really important that you're pushing it up in their inbox. And then next we have the booking cancellation / no-show workflow. So if someone cancels or they don't attend, we then have a message or an email go out, which basically acknowledges the fact that they've cancelled or acknowledges the fact that they couldn't attend, so they didn't attend. And then we pass that over to a text-based WhatsApp or SMS conversation and follow-up agent, which again uses the same system we discussed up here, but it is more tailored to actually get people rebooked in. So this agent is trained on the fact that this customer has not showed up or they cancel their call, and it will basically follow up with them and message them in the most appropriate way for that scenario. And then next we actually have a triage agent, which is a voice agent, and the aim here is to actually collect information about the customer. So that will trigger an outbound call, which actually goes through via Retail AI, and the aim here is to actually triage that lead prior to their meeting. So before their meeting, we just want to ensure they actually meet the criteria. They have enough money to invest in the course or these, the service that we offer. And they also have the urgency as well. They're ready to actually go ahead straight away and sign up. So this agent is able to collect that information. We can also answer their general FAQs as well if they have any general questions. We have the ability to extract information from the CRM directly as well. So if we have their data, for example, their name, email, conversation history, all of that information can be extracted and fed directly into the agent and used within the conversation. We then obviously pre-qualify the customer. If they are pre-qualified, we then warm them up. So we build authority, build trust, basically give them a bit more information on what we do and just kind of warm them up for the actual meeting. We don't want to be too explicit with what we do, but the aim here is to build that trust authority with the customer and then kind of end the call, bring the call to a close. If they don't meet the qualification criteria, we need to disqualify them. We will cancel the call as well, just so we can free up that slot in the calendar. And we log all of that information within the CRM, which is high level, and basically log all of that data, update the CRM directly. If we need to cancel the call, we obviously use an NA10 workflow in order to do that call cancellation for us. And that will, again, update that within high level. And that basically helps to free up space within the calendar. If we are getting a huge influx of bookings, we only want to filter out the ones that are, worth our time. Even if we aren't getting a huge amount of bookings, we also want to ensure we're not getting low quality leads coming through. So it's important to actually triage those leads prior to the meeting so we aren't wasting that 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it is on the meeting and are spending our time efficiently. So this entire segment of the system is very useful in order to maximize the meeting bookings to meeting attendees, whilst also filtering out the high quality leads in the process. Now, next, we're going to be looking at how we can actually automate the customer onboarding and the support segment of that as well. So for the customer onboarding, as soon as a customer comes through, we would trigger a form from our end, which will then send out a welcome email, welcome message, and then pass them over to a WhatsApp onboarding agent, which is able to actually take the lead through an onboarding process, answer their questions, get them onboarded, get them using the systems as quickly as possible. And then some of the things we also could do off the back of that is we can update the CRM, obviously log them as a customer, mark them as one within the CRM. And we can also add them to a school community. So if you have a school community or some sort of course, maybe even within Go High Level, you have a course that you want to onboard members directly onto, then you can do that and automatically add them into that course, get them using it as fast as possible, have that customer service, working straight away. So we are showing them that we are actually, very, very good in terms of the service we deliver right from the get-go. And then we can also do automatic invoicing and payment management via Stripe. So obviously prior to actually, welcoming them, you would have taken the initial payment. But in terms of future payments, perhaps for a retainer, that can be automated as well. And then we can also add them to a members only newsletter system, which can be within Beehive or MailChimp or whatever newsletter system you guys use. And that obviously helps us to actually nurture these members over the long term. And that can help with cross sells and upsells, getting more value out of the customers that we've closed. And then next, if we also use Notion for client onboarding, then we might have a specific onboarding page within Notion, which we want to add the client to. And we actually want to create specific tasks that we need them to get through in order for us to actually maybe build out the specific system we're looking for. So for example, if you're a marketing agency, you might set up a Notion dashboard to obtain their information, maybe ask them a few onboarding questions. For example, you might want to get access to their ad account or get some creatives off them. So that can all be automated and added as tasks within Notion for them to be able to complete. You can also add them to a private Slack channel. So for example, if you have, several members of your team that you want to interact with the actual client, then you can add them to a private Slack channel where you're able to engage with them there. And maybe you have a Discord channel, you can also automatically add them directly to that, send them, automated onboarding messages as well within Discord and get them really using the system as quickly as possible. And then next we have the AI client support FAQ, WhatsApp or Slack chatbot. So depending on how you interact with clients, this can be built via WhatsApp or Slack. So the way this works is whenever there's an inbound query from a client, we then handle that via WhatsApp or via Slack. We have an n8n AI agent, which basically is trained on FAQs. So it's able to actually handle those questions from the client and then send a response via WhatsApp or send the response via Slack, depending on where the customer has engaged. Now with this agent as well, if the customer has asked a question which it's unable to handle, then we can actually pass the customer over to a human. So we can send a notification to the team internally. The team can then go and actually jump in on the conversation and have that conversation with the client. If it's a really specific question the agent can't actually handle. So ultimately, this entire system here allows you to keep the team super lean and still provide extremely good support and onboarding. So you can onboard that customer, right away as soon as they actually sign up. And you can also provide support in terms of handling their questions. You will have a bank of frequently asked questions that you get from all of your clients. They generally ask the same sort of questions. They might need support with how they can actually get access to the, give access to the ad account, or maybe how they can actually, just access the ad account themselves. They have these general questions, which are super simple and able for you guys to answer, just by automating it, right? So through this system, we're able to do that, and we're able to get the customer moving forward, get them actually using the systems, get them onboarded in a really streamlined way. And then next we have the paying customer retention, upsells, reviews, and referrals systems as well. So what happens here is if we want to retain the customer and check in with them, we can send a customer check-in message. And then if there's no response, we then pass over to our follow-up agent, which is able to actually follow up with them in a tailored way. If they do respond, then we can obviously hand them over to a human, in which case, obviously they can jump in and actually have that personalized connection with them via a conversation, via WhatsApp, or maybe even just jump on a phone call with them directly and actually speak with them, collect as much information as they want. And that allows you to retain customers better because you can just check in with them, see how their things are performing. If they are maybe going through an info product, maybe you're an info seller, so you're selling an online course and they're going through that course, you obviously want to frequently check in with them. So you can automate maybe checking in with them every week or so, or every day, or every 2 or 3 days, just to make sure they are happy with how things are going. And then we also have the review request automation. So you can actually ask them specifically for feedback on how they're finding things, how they are, what sort of results they're getting. And if they provide good feedback, you can then request a review. If there's no review given, again, we follow up with them. If they leave bad feedback, we can send an internal notification to the team. That could be via Slack, that could be via email, via WhatsApp, whatever systems you guys use. And that basically allows us to collect good feedback in the process and also isolate the good reviews. So if people are leaving good feedback, we can then tell them to leave a review, in which case we're only going to be getting 4 or 5-star reviews on Google or Facebook, which will in turn allow the actual rankings of the business to be much higher on Google and also on Facebook as well. We can also gain Trustpilot reviews as well for the business, and that will in turn lead to more customers coming through organically just through Google, through actually looking up the business. If there's bad feedback, we pass over to the team. the team's able to handle that manually and obviously rectify the scenario with the customer. And then we have the customer referrals automation. So it's really useful to get referrals from customers. You can squeeze out a lot more value. We just send a simple WhatsApp message, just ask them if they know anyone who, they could refer us to. If there's no response from the customer, again, we follow up with them. Obviously, we don't want to be too kind of, picky with the follow-ups. We don't want to pester them too much. So just one follow-up message is probably the best option here, just to, push them forward, just see if they have anyone. If not, then obviously no worries. And then finally, we have a customer newsletter automation, which allows us to gain upsells, cross-sells, or maybe even gain feedback from customers, maybe see what customers really want more of as well. And that can basically help to in turn kind of, loop into the product that we offer and improve our service as things go along. For example, with upsells, maybe introducing AI to the service that you guys offer, or selling them on, maybe more one-to-one coaching that, they're looking for. So there's different things you can upsell here to actually help your customer get better results with the product or service that you guys offer. So off the back of that, we have a Google Sheet where you can actually have different topics to include within the newsletter. And then we pass that over to an email agent, which is built within NA10. It's tailored to actually write really high quality email copy for the business. So it's trained on the business itself. It also knows how to actually write really good copy, and it will go ahead and write that. It will send that over to a human for approval. It can actually add that to to the Google Sheet, in which case the human can go in, they can have a read through it, they can edit it, they can improve it. And then once they've approved it, it will then be sent out as an email newsletter. Now this shouldn't be Slack, it should say Beehive or MailChimp, but it will basically be sent out via those platforms as an email newsletter to those customers that you guys are currently working with. So you can squeeze more value out of them. You can basically keep them in the loop. It's also about gaining more feedback and just showing them you're there to actually help out as well if they have any questions. So a huge part of this entire segment of the system is the fact that you're able to build a much better relationship with your clients and just show them that you're there to actually help out and you're really eager to actually deliver the best possible results for them as possible. And if you're doing that, you're more likely to get, more reviews, more referrals, and also build a better product in the process. And obviously automating a part of that process allows you to save a lot of time whilst delivering that top quality service that you want. Now, if you want this exact same system or want high quality voice and text AI agents implemented for your business, or are interested in white labeling our tried and tested system to sell to your clients, visit the top link in the description below to book in a call with myself. And also don't forget to subscribe, comment, hit the like button if you like these videos, and let me know if there's something specific you guys would like to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.